Hello everyone, this is the first video of my new YouTube channel and I'll be starting off with showing you how to set up your computer for any type of web developer. So the first thing you need is a proper web browser. So I'm going to go and download Google Chrome, which is my preferred choice for a good browser. So you can get this at chrome.google.com, and downloads are available for any operating system for Windows, Mac, and Linux. So since mine is already installed, I'm going to be skipping this step. So the next thing you need is a version control system. I'll be explaining this in future videos, and we can get this at git-scm.com. This is going to download Git. Git is a version control system that I'm going to be using, and it's one of the most popular ones used currently. And downloading from this website will get us Git and a few additional tools which will be helpful for us. So this is the setup for Windows. You can follow this. If you're downloading for Mac or Linux, this is not required. Mac or Linux, all you have to do is install your browser. Uh, so for Windows users, you can follow along. Mac and Linux users, you guys are set. So I'm going to hit the download button over here, and it's going to be downloading the application for me. And once it's done, I'll be back. So the download's complete, and I can see my executable file over here in my browser. If you can't see the executable file, you can open your file explorer and double click on the explorer file in the downloads folder or wherever your downloads generally go. So I'm going to open up this executable file and an installer is going to run. So this will help us set up the system. So you need to be you need admin privilege for this. So if you have a password, enter the password. I'm just going to hit yes to allow. So now we have the installer over here, and we just have to run through this and make the required configuration that we require. So this is just asking us where we need to install Git. We can stick with the defaults. And now we have to select what components we need installed. So I'm going to stick with all the defaults, but I'm going to check this extra box over here for daily updates in case there's a new update available, and we want everything else checked. So the important thing is you hit this Windows Explorer integration, git bash here and git GUI here. You need all of this selected. You need git lfs large file support, and you need these two, the .git extension, the .sh extension. Once you've selected all these components, you can hit next, proceed to the defaults. You can continue as usual. But here in this step where they ask you where it's about adjusting the name of the initial branch in new repositories, I'm going to hit this second option and stick with the default, which is main over here. This is for just historical reasons. There's a new version, so I'm going to select this new option. Now this is an important step, especially for Windows users, so adjusting your path environment. So the second option is the most recommended option, and that's what I'm going to be sticking with. You can proceed the default for this step. The default should be fine. You can proceed for this. And once I made it to the end, the installation will complete by extracting all these files and completing our installation. Once this finishes, I'll be back. So the installation has finished, and I can see this page over here. So I'm just going to uncheck all of this and hit finish. So Git is now installed and a few additional tools. So now I'll be showing you what exactly is installed and how to make use of it. So I'm going to complete the walkthrough for Windows, and then I'll jump on a Mac computer to explain how it works in Mac or a Linux machine. So what you can do is you can go to your start menu and you can search for git bash. So one thing that I want to mention before I open git bash is on Windows computers, you have a program called command prompt. If you search for command prompt, you can see this application over here, and you have an application called Powershell. So by opening any one of this, you should see a window over here, which is very minimal. And this is a command line interface where you type commands to navigate through your computer, to navigate through files and execute different programs. So this is very different compared to a graphical user interface, which we traditionally use. So there are no pictures, there are no icons over here. Everything is done through commands. So this is how we will be walking through projects and completing projects in future tutorials. So I want to mention that there are already these two programs which are installed in Windows, but to make sure the tutorials are very simple for everyone and you can follow along easier, we're going to be using Bash shell, which is going to be similar to the shells or terminals which are already installed on Mac or Linux. And that's also a very popular command line interface. So we are going to type git bash and we're going to open this program over here, this app. So just like I opened PowerShell or the command prompt, this should open a window over here. It's going to seem a little ugly at first, but this is extremely powerful. So this is our command line interface, and everything we need to accomplish has to be done through typing commands. And each command has to be extremely precise. Even a small typo, your command is not going to work. The computer is not going to be able to understand you. So there are a few commands that you're going to be able to use. So, and I will walk them through in future videos. But an example is typing ls list all the current directories or folders in this location. So if I type ls, I can see that these are all the folders that are present in this current location. So since we are on Windows, we obviously have a documents folder, a downloads folder. We should have a music folder, a videos folder. So these are all the folders that I can see. Now, if I want to go into a folder, I can type cd, which stands for change directory, and then followed by the folder's name. So if I want to go into the documents folder, I type cd documents. And now I'm inside the documents folder. You can see this extension, you can see this name over here. So this shows that I'm inside the documents folder. Now to prove to you that it's actually different, we have gone to the documents folder. I can type ls again and hit enter. So now I see a different uh, number of or different names for folders over here. So this proves that I am actually in the documents folder. Now anytime I want to come back in a level, I want to go back to the home directory, I type cd space dot dot. So this takes me back to where I started. So this is basic navigation. Now this is git bash, but the reason we installed git in the first place was to use git. So I'll be explaining git in a future video. That is how we're going to control different versions of a project. If we make a mistake, if we want to go back to a previous version, or we're collaborating with multiple people on the same project, it's going to be very easy for us, and that's the entire reason I installed git. So the setup and walkthrough for Windows is done. Now I'll be showing you uh, how to operate this in Mac or a Linux machine. For Mac and Linux users, your setup and walkthrough is quite simple because most of the tools that you require are already installed. The only thing that you might have to install additionally is a good browser, and we have chosen to install Google Chrome. So once Google Chrome is installed, you're pretty much ready. The second thing that we need is the version control system, which is already installed on Mac or Linux. And after that, we just need our command line interface, which we're going to interact with regularly. So on Mac, you can just search for the terminal and open it. So this is a program. When once you open it, it opens in this type of window. It might look differently for you, but again, this is a command line interface where you type commands to interact with the system, to navigate the file system, to create new files, to delete files, to execute different programs, to accomplish any type of task you would normally use a system for, but in a command line interface by typing in commands. This is quite different from a graphical user interface that we are accustomed with, but this is much more efficient, and you will see why it's definitely used by programmers or web developers, because it's much more efficient and you can do complex tasks quite quickly. So you can do type in different commands. For example, by typing in ls and hitting return, you can list the current folders or directories and files in the current directory. So when you open the terminal for the first time, you're in your home directory. So these are different folders and files in the home directory. So if you want to go inside a directory, you type cd, which stands for change directory, followed by a space, followed by the name of the directory. For example, I want to go into the downloads folder, so cd space downloads. Be careful to use the correct spelling. So now we're inside the downloads folder. So by typing in cd, which stands for change directory, you can go into any folder you need. And if you want to come out of any folder, all you have to do is type cd space dot dot. So you come out one level. So you can verify again by typing ls to list the current folders. Now the version control system is already installed. It's called git. You can use it by typing git, but I'm not going to go into this detail. This is for a separate video. But generally to speak, your setup is completely done. The same thing goes for a Linux computer also.